So this video is about the CALLSUN 12.8 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. Let's get started and right into that. Welcome back. In this video we'll look at this CALLSUN lithium iron phosphate battery, and I want to make it really quick. So this is what in the box, this as well. So it comes with M6 bolts, not a typical M8 like you're used to in most other cases. And also terminals are a little smaller, the surface itself, I feel like, compared to other similar size batteries. Online they do actually claim, that's quite interesting, that they sell it as a Group 24 battery. I disagree with that, because the dimensions are 5 something, almost 9, and 8 plus 8.5 inches with terminals. And when you compare it to the competition really quick, just that you get an understanding, this is a mini battery, regardless of what brand it is, but you see it's pretty much the same form factor. So now you understand, I do highly disagree with this is a Group 24, because the dimensions are just different for Group 24. Nevertheless, this might be more advantageous for you that this one's smaller. So even though the manufacturer says Group 24, I do view it as a mini, and mini are way more compact, way smaller, way more dense inside. So let's see, we have A+ grade cells. So talking about the specification here, A+ grade cells. They advertise it with A+ grade cells. Those must not be prismatic cells. It looks like, on the picture at least, it says or shows those are cylindrical cells. So we'll see when we open it up if that's the case. 10-year lifespan and 5,000 cycles, which is, you know, we've seen a lot in the recent days and a couple months. Depending really, here it says 80% DoD, so when you always deplete only to 80% and then charge it. So makes sense. But did the chemistry advance in this case? It does improve, to be honest, but that's for another topic. Then we do have a built-in 100 amp BMS, and we have also not only the online advertisement on Amazon, link in the description below, by the way, in case you want to check it out. We also have this little user manual in the box. So I'm looking here on the rear side, and it states nominal capacity 100 amp hour, it states charge parameters, max charge current 100 amp, and the max continuous discharge 100 amp as well. Standard would be 20 amp charge and discharge. And it does come, in this case the BMS, with short circuit protection, over voltage protection, over current protection, over heat protection, over charge protection, and over discharge protection, which seems to be aligning with the electrical parameters in the manual as well. That's good to see. Then we have some information about the weight. Of course, it's way lighter, and since it's not a Group 24, well, to be honest, cylindric cells are more heavy compared to the prismatic cells. That's what I found recently. So low temp cutoff protection, that's something they advertise here on Amazon. We will test it if we can. I do not see this actually in the user manual, so I'm a little bit torn in between here. So they say the minus temperature is 4F, minus 20 Celsius, and there's an intelligently cut-off charging and discharging. Low temp cutoff protection, intelligent cutoff charging and discharging. So it should, when we charge it to protect the chemistry, not charge or stop charging when it's below 0 Celsius, 20 Fahrenheit. So let's see if that works. Sorry, 32 Fahrenheit. There we go, 32 Fahrenheit. 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit. And what's pretty cool about it, and I think they're pretty the same, 4P4S. So you should be able to have up to, here they say, the maximum of 4 groups can be connected in parallel. A maximum of 4 groups can be connected in series, so both is possible. That's pretty good to see in this case because it's small form factor. So what we're doing next is basically looking at the capacity test. So I'll do this now, as well as a high discharge test, and then we'll be back and check out what's inside. So we'll take it apart afterwards, and I don't want to slow down, so let's continue with that. Okay, here we have the battery, and we'll do the capacity tests for proof. Here we have it, the CALLSUN. Oh, there we go. And I would say we'll get started discharging the battery. We'll see what the capacity test will result in, and I'll fill you in as soon as we've done with the capacity test and if it's passed. Alright, so I just plugged in or connected the charger, so it's recovering, but you can see the total amp hours we pulled was 104.43 out of the CALLSUN battery. Okay, so right now we have the high discharge test
proceeding or started. We are at 140 amps. I'll play around a little bit and see if we can get even more. Because we should, and you may remember, max continuous discharge current is 100 amp and the peak discharge current is 300 amp for less than 5 seconds. Let's see if I can get higher. Okay, 200. It's not the 300. Let's see if we can get more. Ooh, yeah. Okay, it looks like that's the maximum I can get it. Here we are, this little battery, oh my goodness, look at this. Yep, that's the maximum I can go with my test equipment. This inverter just beeping. Pretty nice.
Alrighty, 104 amp hour capacity test. That's pretty good. And also the high discharge test that we have seen more, definitely more than the advertised with maximum continuous discharge of 100 amp. So it also means when you think about the over current protection that we're pulling more than 100 amp. It's great in case you have everything set up and you have your fuse and everything else out there. But with those small terminals, it will work for sure. You just have to have the appropriate wiring for that stuff and for that high of a current setup. But over current protection, there will be probably triggered at one point. I have not seen it, so it must be way higher. And they also were saying peak discharge current is 300 amp for less than 5 seconds. So maybe it's at that point when it triggers. I wasn't able to do that with my setup. Let's take it apart and look inside. Oh, okay, I got it open. And I don't know what direction I should go. This direction. So, surprise, it looks fairly clean, to be quite frank. So here we have the entire battery. I hope you can see it. Let me get in focus. There we are. And we do have a BMS here, which is, this is the serial number. I hope you can see it. And we do have a good setup in general. What's very cool is they actually bolted on this BMS because there's a steel aluminum casing, which is pretty cool to see. Proof that point here. It is steel, it's magnetic. So now we have an entire housing here. This is really good to see. This one's not. This is more like a, what is it, insulator probably. So what we see, besides that there's a casing, I can't get it out. I tried already really hard. Otherwise I will have to break the entire housing, which I would like to avoid because it looks pretty good. From what I can see, let me walk you through a little bit more. The main positive on the battery itself, one thing I want to show you is that it does wiggle here a little bit. It's laser welded, I checked it out. Not sure why it is. It's maybe because it is thinner, it's a thinner material than I expected here on the bus bar for the main positive, but it looks pretty good still. So additionally, we do have two 8-gauge wire over here going to the main terminal, which is on this side, and that's how it looks like. That's how it looks underneath. There's no marking, torque marking, or solder or blob of glue, nothing like that. So just protected with those ones. Nothing against that. Negative is the same on the other side, so nothing against it either. But we see some glue here, up here, which is also nothing against that. In the meantime, it's not as much. It's a little bit to keep it from moving. We have a nice hydraulic crimp over here that looks pretty good. We have a hydraulic crimp here over here on the main negative on the battery side, which goes to the terminal, which goes to the BMS. And we're talking about 8-gauge wire over here, but also from the BMS over to the main terminal. Then we have a blob of glue here, here, and here, and here. I would hope that this is not moving or going anywhere. It feels really good. We do have a temperature sensor over here, which is actually routed down to the cell over here. It's hard to see. I try to do this. Here we go. I think you can see it where, here we go. There's a, I don't want to touch everything. Here's a hump on the bus bar. In between you can see that maybe. I hope so at least. Which is pretty cool and pretty good to see. Everything else is in housing, so I like that setup. That being said, can I see what are we talking about? Are we talking about cylindric or... Yeah, we can. I can see the blue, and I can actually see with those bus bars as well. We do not have cylindric cells. We have prismatic cells in here. I cannot tell you which ones they're using because I would like to maintain this housing because I like those form factors in general. I can really good use them. So it's always nice to keep them. So anyways, we have actually bolted on casing. That is pretty good. So what I will do now, I'm getting the temperature sensor always as good as I can, and then we try to do the high temp and low temp cutoff test and see how good it performs, because low temp, as you remember, is not advertised. So let me get that out and get me the setup ready. Okay, we're charging with 10 amps. Everything's connected here. First of all, high temperature protection test. So here we have the temperature probe. I got it out. Please watch when this one's dropping. Or if. And there it is, pretty good. So that works. Let's see when it comes back, or if it comes back. And there it is, charging again. For now, we'll use just ice cold packets to see if we can reach the more human temperature with below 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. If not, we can still use the duster. So take a look here again. Since we don't have Bluetooth, we have to just eyeball it and test it. Try and error. Oh, look at that. Pretty good. I measured it. It's more like -7 Celsius, best case. Let's see if it comes back. And there it is. Okay, cool. This is pretty good. I'll stop this one for now. So that leads me to the conclusion, or to my summary of this battery. So we do have a very compact battery. It's a more mini style battery, comparable with the watt cycle, whoop, up there. Mini battery. It's not a Group 24. Group 24 is, for example, one of those up there, size-wise, just that you understand. CALLSUN, they have a nice sleek design, nothing crazy. They do have a BMS, which I'm not aware of what it is. They don't come with Bluetooth, so I'm not aware of the manufacturer of the BMS itself, which is a bummer. But besides that, they do come with a low temperature cutoff and a high temperature cutoff while charging, and this is good. This is really good for those batteries. You can have them in 4P4S configuration, parallel or series. Really cool to see this one. Very impressive, to be honest. And the hydraulic rims, the wires are big enough. Prismatic cells, they have a casing inside. I would assume that you get it out when you destroy the housing or have more force you want to bring in. I didn't want to do that because, as mentioned, I would like to use this mini battery because those are awesome. This one as well, you have seen over 104 amp hour is the capacity of this battery. Thumbs up for that. And it does discharge with more than 240 amps continuously, it looks like, up to a certain point, maybe until it overheats, or who knows, which is not good. So you should definitely make sure that you have fuses. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about this battery? I tried to make this video shorter. I hope you enjoyed it more. And let me know what you think about it. Like, subscribe if you want to the channel. I would love to see you back. Thanks for watching. Cheers!